here today with my uncle Art Miller and my dad Sheldon Schmucker to talk about how Millersburg Tire started in 1953. But I guess, Art, I'll ask you, how did Millersburg Tire start?
Well, it started at Grandpa's house when Christmas Day, because I was out of a job and your dad was looking for somebody to go into business with. And I needed somebody, and I needed him.
What did you do, Art, before? I know you came to you were in Millersburg, but how did you, and you left and came back, how did that?
Well, I was in the funeral home, came back, and the funeral home I was working at, we did quite a bit of business, and the director was pretty good, but he didn't know anything about money. And the other employee and I both got bad checks at Christmas.
They wrote you rubber checks?
2 rubber checks, middle of the month and one just before Christmas. The banker told him, he said if he ever did that again, he'd shut him down. And Alvin Roos said that. But I started looking for a job. I had to have it. We had one child and another on the way, and I had to work.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't easy. It was kind of like now.
How long were you in Chester Hill? I think it was
in Chester 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got along all right with the guy down there, but I never felt like I was doing everything I should, and I didn't get any help or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I won't make any excuses. I just was ready to come home.
Yeah. Dad, how did you know, I know you're born, raised on a farm in Louisville, Ohio, but I've heard different stories, but how did you start selling tires on the farm?
Well, Dad said, you know, on the tractor, said the tires are pretty well worn.
Had you farmed with horses?
Oh yes, we had 10 horses. And he said, would you, when you worked at Crane Company, would you slip over and talk? So I slipped over and talked to General Tire Service and a couple of places in Ziegler. And I said, how much are you going to charge for these 1238s? And they gave me a price, and I said, that's too high. That's too high. And I left. And the next day they got my license plate number, and the next day they were out at the farm. I couldn't believe it to see what's going on. Mm-hmm. And they saw we had a real good operation, and they wanted to sell us.
What kind of tractor was it, Dan?
DC case.
DC case, okay.
Yeah. And it had 1238, 1238s on it. And he shows up and said, I'd like to sell you them.
What kind were they?
Oh, they were Generals.
Generals?
And they were closed center tread. So Dad and I talked a little bit, and he kept coming down. And then before he left, he said, how would you like to, he said, you're a salesman, Sam. He said, how would you like to sell tires? And my dad said, well, I think that'd be a good idea, because he was the head of the Farm Bureau, and he knew so many people. So the first thing you know, and I was making more money than Dad was milking cows. So he decided he'll sell the cows and he'll help me in place of me helping him. That's how I got started.
Well, so we know how Art got to Millersburg. How did you end up in Millersburg?
Well, I married a local gal from Millersburg, and Blanche, and I was going to make a farmer out of her. And anyhow, I put her on the tractor, and on the baler, I caught the bales, and the next morning her eyes were swelled shut. So I went to Dr. Montgomery, and Dr. Montgomery said, you'll have to get her off the farm, because said she's allergic to dust. And that really hurt me, because Dad had 2 farms, and the neighbors both were going to sell me their farms, and I was going to be a big time farmer. Well, and then a week later we drove to see our in-laws, Blanche's parents, and I drove the lower street, and lo and behold, I saw this Mikesell Brothers had a sign out that said for sale. And so I stopped and I said, what are you going to sell? And he said, just a minute, it's 3 and 2, and there's two on base, and he said, yeah. I thought, what kind of a guy is this watching a ball game? And so finally he got done, and I said, what do you want? And I think he said 10,500. 10,500.
And when was that? What was that in?
Well, it was 19,
Was it the end of '52 or the start of '53?
start of 53, because we moved in February.
When did you actually start the business? Do you remember what day it was?
14th, February 14th.
I think that's right. But I was out. I went to Canton, and with Standard Oil sent me over there, and I went to a place and learned the latest tricks on changing oil and grease and things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Was there, drove back and forth for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So we found the history of both of you, how you got, and you opened up in February, okay. The hours you worked, I've heard all sorts of stories. I mean, you know, I'd like to hear the final.
I think it was 6 till 10.
Well, yeah, and we started turning them back from 10.
Yeah.
pretty
6 to
soon.
10, yeah, that's, and it was 6 days a week?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we both agreed we weren't going to work on Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah. When did, and I found some old stationery, it says Schmucker and Miller on it.
Mm-hmm.
And when did you change to Millersburg Tire Service?
That's when Roy was in.
Yeah. When Roy was, I can't remember the exact date.
Smucker, Miller, and Berkey didn't work.
Okay,
And
okay.
We, on Millersburg Tire, and then we incorporated
Right.
soon, end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure when it was.